Meanwhile, as preparations continue ahead of tomorrow's State of the Nation address, National Assembly Speaker Mzwandile explained to the media about the rules that need to be followed during proceedings. Let's now cross to Cape Town, where we find SABC News Political Editor Mzwandile Mbeje. Mzwai, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and a warm welcome to The Full View. I see a red carpet behind you. So just what can we expect from tomorrow's proceedings? And as has been the past, traditionally, we've seen pomp and ceremony from public office bearers and as well as politicians. So what do we expect tomorrow?
Well, very good evening to you, Simpiwe, and of course the viewers. We expect a lot of, maybe not a lot, but we expect some sort of pomp and ceremony, because an occasion like this has always been accompanied by an event of that nature. But of course, you would know that in the heads of everyone who will be here will be what is it that the president of the country will be telling the nation, especially because the country is going through the most, if I were to put it that way, when it comes to the issues of energy challenges. I think I can actually take a guess here to say I don't see less than 50% of the speech, Simpiwe, not focusing on the measures that will have to be taken to address the energy situation. You know why this is important? Because at the moment, energy is at the core of what should be achieved in this country. You can't be speaking about eradicating unemployment. You can't be speaking about eradicating poverty when the tools that will help you achieve that are not functional. So the president will use this occasion to update the nation. What is it that he will do together with his cabinet, and then of course to address this challenge. In fact, you'd remember that earlier this year he had to cancel a trip to Davos, World Economic Forum, because he wanted to single-handedly focus on the issue of addressing the electricity challenges. So he hasn't addressed the nation other than those that you may have heard when he was addressing his party structures, indicating what exactly they want to do. But here is the opportunity. And remember, Simpiwe, this opportunity comes after a series of meetings. First, it was in December when the party he leads, the ANC, elected the new leadership. And of course, he was re-elected as the party president, basically being given the mandate to govern this country once again. In fact, that mandate was even renewed in a much bigger margin compared to what had happened in 2017. And then from there, the NEC that was elected, of course, met to process the issues that followed the January 8 statement, which indicated what is it that the country wants to do. And you saw Lekgotla, and then after NEC Lekgotla, it was Cabinet Lekgotla. In fact, all those issues that were discussed there are what the president will articulate in this house, which is obviously a makeshift parliament, given that parliament was banned about 2 years ago and it still hasn't been fixed. So, but we understand that in the coming days there will be an update in telling us what exactly will be done. So we expect, Simpiwe, the issue really of electricity and of course all other accompanying ones to dominate. But as I've said, energy right now, currently in South Africa, is the #1 issue of concern.
Now, Mzwai, during the last two administrations, namely the Zuma administration and now the Ramaphosa administration, we've grown accustomed to the EFF disrupting each and every State of the Nation address. Now, the EFF has come out with, unrelenting, saying that they will do so even tomorrow as well until President Ramaphosa gives us or takes the country into his confidence and explain the whole Phala saga. And now the NFP has joined the fray, saying that they will also disrupt, the State of the Nation address tomorrow. And Parliament Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, on the other hand, saying that they've strengthened systems and they've, consolidated all security systems in place to ensure that no disruptions take place tomorrow. So in terms of security augmentation, what have you heard?
Well, you'd recall that actually yesterday the Net joins, so basically issued a statement to say they are ready to secure the State of the Nation. So they are saying the State of the Nation will be delivered in an environment of peace. But Of course, as you've correctly said it, Simpiwe, we've been here before. We have seen what is happening. And then, of course, the third biggest party, the EFF, has made it clear that as long as the president remains in his position, wherever they meet him, they would never allow him to speak. Their issue is the issue that remains obviously very much in the news, the issue of Phala. You remember a little over a month ago here, so the motion basically was defeated that could have actually led to the impeachment proceedings against the president, because so that panel's report, which basically said that he has a case to answer, was defeated in this house. So what the EFF has basically said, Simpiwe, was that as long as this matter remains unresolved, so they will never be able to listen to the president. In fact, as far as they are concerned, they want him to go, they want him to resign. So, and you and I know that's not going to happen. The ANC is not going to allow that. They still have the numbers. And then, so which basically means he's to continue to be the president. But of course, given what they have done in the past, they started during the Zuma years, and then they've continued during the Ramaphosa years. In fact, they are intensifying it now because they feel the establishment, if I were to put it that way, they feel the establishment is somehow tolerant to the incumbent. So clearly they've taken a position to say, so they will disrupt. And remember, there is a very interesting aspect, I mean, when it comes to this whole situation, the separation of power. So Parliament is actually on its own, it's very much independent. So you can't say because they said they are going to disrupt, we're going to stop them. These are people who were directly elected by the people. They'll be here, they'll be allowed to be in, they'll raise their voices, because some of what they will be doing is actually allowed. But perhaps when they go on the disruption, that's when we'll end up perhaps seeing the bouncers and then taking really away from some of the core issues that the people of South Africa will have been expecting. But what I expect will happen is that if then they do indeed go ahead with their threat, which I think they will do, because what they have said they've normally carried out, so it will happen, and then I'm sure they'll be ejected out, and the president then will continue to deliver the message. But I think for them, then they would have achieved what they want, because they would have then turned or swayed a bit of attention to them. As much as the president will be saying important things, but people will keep on saying, oh, EFF, oh, EFF. So I guess being the strategists that they are, especially from the political point of view, and remember, Simpiwe, we are just over a year away from election. Every opportunity that you get to mile the political mileage around this, you will use. And that's why I think the threat of the EFF will be carried through. But insofar as the speech itself, even if it will be delayed, it will still go ahead.
All right, Mzwandile, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate your time. Mzwandile Mbeje there speaking to us outside the Cape Town City Hall, where President Ramaphosa will be delivering his State of the Nation address.